Hi folks, and welcome back. This is a video about my Specialized P4 that I just got, and a little background first. I got a Specialized P3 when I lived in Florida, and P3s and P4s are single speed bicycles. They're built as dirt jump bikes, DJ. When we moved up to South Carolina, we got into the foothills, which is what we wanted, and found that the P3 single speed just was not satisfactory. It just needed gearing to go up the hills and so forth. And I decided to give the P3 to my wife because it was just too small for me, and consequently I needed a new bike and got the P4. The P4 came as a single speed. The way they built the P4 was to allow for a 7-speed derailleur system to be installed on it. And that's one of the main things I did. I did a few other things also that I'll show you in some detail. I used an Answer 4-inch rise handlebar to take some weight off my hands. I used an RX seat to give me a more comfortable ride. And I changed the pedals to stamp pedals that are lighter and slightly bigger platforms. What else? And took off the front brake. So it came with a mechanical front brake, and I've never liked mechanical disc brakes. They just don't seem to work very well. So I took that off and left it off. Dirt bike riding that I do doesn't really require a front brake. I'm not going that fast, and I don't trust them in a lot of situations. Locking up and skidding and so forth. So I took that off. Other than that, it's pretty much stock. The brake that came with the bike for the back is excellent. The quality of the bike is excellent. I'm very happy with it. Now, a lot of people might not like this style of bike. It's not really made as a road bike. It's not made as a gravel bike. It does all right downhill as a downhill bike, and I think that's why they allowed gearing to be installed on it. And now that the mountain bike races in in the Olympics were won by men and women on Specialized bikes, and I can't tell which bike it is, but it all looks a lot like this one. So I'm happy with that. I just love the quality. I love how sturdy it is. So let's get into the details of putting the derailleur on and what I found in that process. I'm not sure how this is going to show up in the video, but what Specialized did was they put spacer on one side of a gear, spacer on the other side of a gear, and put a single speed gear in here. The preferred, well, I didn't know how to proceed, so I called up Specialized, and they reluctantly told me that the SRAM 7-speed cassette and derailleur were what people are using to replace that single speed gear. So I went online, and here is the page for the downhill set of components that SRAM put together for downhill. And they're all designated as DHs. Finding these DH components was a challenge. I had to find each piece in a separate place. I'm not sure, but it seems as though SRAM has these in their catalog but are no longer making them. So that could be an issue for people trying to do the same thing. As I proceeded, one of the things I found was this cassette here. Each gear in this cassette is a separate gear. And you put them together with spacers to space them out so that, you know, there's space for chain and they're properly spaced for shifting and so forth. But I suspect that you could take the gear that comes with the bike and remove it and replace it with any one of these 7 gears, still retaining it as a single speed bike, but being able to change the gearing. So that is a major plus of this cassette. It is not fused together. All these gears are separate. The shifter is a GX, well, it's in the component list. It's a 7-speed shifter with a short extension here because it's only dealing with 7 speeds. So the derailleur derailleurs, I guess, that SRAM currently makes have 2 lengths, a short and a long. The long for like the 11, 12 gear cassettes, and the short one, which is all you need for this, is available. And that's what this one is. The other thing is that in the box that comes with the P4 is a hanger. So let me show you that. Hold on a sec. So I'm not sure this shows up very well, but this piece here that sticks up is what the derailleur bolts into. And Specalized provides this. I bought one because I didn't know it was in the box, but it comes with the bike. So you just replace the inner piece here on this chainstay with the one that has the extension for this bolt. And it all goes together very nicely. That part was pretty much a cinch. You just follow the directions. There's YouTube articles on it, and it comes together very nicely using their components for the chain, the derailleur, and the cassette. The front gear I changed also. One of the things that I want to do with this bike is get the gearing low enough for me to easily go up hills. So the back cassette comes with a 25 tooth low gear sprocket. The front comes with a 30 tooth chainring. I hope I'm using the right terminology because this is all new to me. So what I wanted to do was find a chainring that would bring the size of this down to very close to 1-to-1 with the back gear, low gear. So after a lot of searching, I found this race face sprocket that was a direct mount to the Specalized crank set, and it has, the lowest I could find was 26 teeth, and that's what this one is. So for going up hills, this is basically a 1-to-1 gear ratio with the cassette in the back. In that, for me, worked out to be sufficient. And it's easy to take. You just follow, again, going online on YouTube. It's very easy to take this crankset apart, unbolt the supplied 32 sprocket and bolt up this one. In the comments, I will try to put where I found these things and the specifics of what they are. Next was the shifter. If you look back at the catalog set that SRAM has for a 7-speed setup, downhill setup, there are 2 shifters that they have in their catalog. One's a GX and one's an X0. Unfortunately, after weeks of searching, it appears that they no longer make either of those. So this held me up for quite a while, trying to figure this one out. Turns out that the X0 shifters all have the same spacing for the gears. So an X0, this is an X0 11 speed, actually works perfectly with the 7-speed cassette, because the spacing and the I guess the pull of the shifter is the same for all their X0 cassettes. So what I did was I set this one up with the derailleur on the highest speed, smallest gear, and wired it tight to the shifter so that as it shifted up, it's moving the chain to that lowest gear, or the highest gear, which is the smallest, and the derailleur is pulling it to that spot. Once you set up the derailleur so that it can't go beyond that smallest gear with their adjustments, then it's fine, and according to the shifter, it's fine also, because that's as low or as high as it'll go. If you do that, and you've also adjusted the derailleur in the back so that it cannot shift beyond the lowest gear, which is the biggest, then as you shift down with the shifter, it cannot pull the derailleur further than that large gear. So it's essentially now limited to 7 speeds. And that works fine. I've used it several times now, and it just works perfectly. Also, I had trouble with this shifter because I didn't know how it worked. I'd never used a SRAM X0 shifter, so I didn't know actually how to shift it up and down. So I thought it was broken because I couldn't figure out how to shift it up at all. It would go down and then just kind of lock up in the down position. So this here is the down shifter. This here, by pushing it, is the up shifter. You mount it so that your hand can shift down with the thumb, and then come down here and push to shift up on the second lever. So there's two levers, down and up. And yes, this is a dog leash that I use every day to walk my 100-pound half golden retriever, half German Shepherd Nelson. And this way I can keep up with him when he's trotting and let him go the speed he wants to go. So I'm using this every day for that purpose. You can see the answer handlebars I have, and it says 18 on one side and it says 705 on the other. I'm not sure which, but this is the 4-inch rise mountain bike handlebars, and I really like them. I've used them on several bikes. This is the Surface RX saddle that I use. It's filled with gel, nice and soft, and that's mounted on a Bontrager seat post to give me the right height. And this is the Stamp pedal, flat pedal that I use. I don't like clip-ons or anything like that. I find flat pedals work just fine for the kind of riding I do. And that's about it. I love this bike. It does everything I want it to. Melinda and I are gonna take them, her P3 and this P4, on some downhill single tracks. Not very fast, but we're gonna do that and use cars to ferry them back up the hills. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope this helps those people who are working on this same problem space with less heartache and trouble finding pieces. Thanks for watching. Bye.